Muchachos y muchachas, I'm not saying we are the ones in history that have experienced this and nobody else. However, what I will say is that we are under some heavy gaslighting, okay? We are under the gaslightiest governing body, governing officials, governing agencies that lie to our faces, know that they're lying to our faces, know that we know that they're lying to our faces, and they continue to lie thereafter. What I'm talking about in today's example of that is the CBP, the Customs Border Protection Group, governmental group, that put out a statement today basically saying that, hey, if you see claims that the federal government is paying for migrants' transportation, travel, destinations, and all these things, it's a lie. Okay. I think we're pretty well versed in catching these types of things. I wanted to take a look at this tweet, react to it a little bit with you guys, and also show you guys some other things on the contrary that contradict what CBP is putting out to the public. My goodness. With that being said, hold on to your butts, secure your wigs, stay right there. We're going to go through it. Really quick, I'd like to thank the sponsor of this video, Multi-Collagen by BioTrust. Collagen is often referred to as our modern day fountain of youth, and for a good reason. Supplementing this powerful nutrient can bring back a youthful glow to our skin, hair, and nails. My favorite source of collagen comes from this amazing mix that I highly encourage my audience to try. It uses a unique blend of the top 5 most critically types of collagen our bodies need to help bring back the youthfulness to our skin, hair, and nails. Order it today by getting a bundle of benefits by going to healthwithnatalie.com or by clicking the link in my description below. All right, let's take a look at this craziness, okay? I swear this tweet was written by Alejandro Mayorkas himself, okay? This is what the CBP has put out. This is a public statement. In all seriousness, they think that they're looking at us straight in the face with a straight face saying this stuff. And I'm going to have you guys react to it in the comments, okay? It says, notice, in all caps, claims that migrants will be provided free travel and transportation to their destinations are false. The U.S. government does not provide help or financial support for non-citizens, okay? Now, if you have been near any sort of independent content on the interwebs, right? Whether it is on any social media platform, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. There's so many places where you can get independent media. Telegram, right? Pretty sure you've seen the contrary. Pretty sure you have seen a contradiction to the statement, because there has been countless amounts of footage and circulated video of these migrants boarding buses, boarding planes with vanilla folders, with reports of them getting cell phones and all these things, right? And so this is just, it's amazing to me how blatant they will get with their statements, trying to sell things off, right? I found this article very interesting. This is by the Heritage Foundation, which is a pretty good foundation for those of you that are looking for good, independent reporting, alternative reporting, if you will. But basically, what they're saying is how feds use charities to hide the true cost of the U.S. border crisis. And as you can see here, they kind of go into detail. It says the border is on fire, and despite the Supreme Court issue stay keeping the 42 in place. This is obviously a more stale article because Title 42, as you know it today, has expired, which is why we're seeing the big influx at the border. The situation remains catastrophic. It makes sense for Americans to blame President Biden for this. Indeed, polling indicates a majority reject his open border policies and hold him responsible for what they're seeing every day from the southern border. But the dirty little secret is that Biden could not have accomplished this on his own. His administration needed assistance, and slowly but surely the light is starting to shine on who is providing it. The NGOs. the NGOs. Okay. For those of you who don't know what NGO is, it's the non-governmental organizations. These are basically nonprofits that are doing work in the name of a nonprofit, but really it's sometimes it's to further aid an agenda, but they're doing it under the guise of we're doing this for humanitarian reasons, right? And some of them do kind of mix those humanitarian issues into, their agendas. So that's where it becomes really, really tricky. So many of these who present themselves as charities and religiously affiliated nonprofits, such as the Catholic Charities, but who spend most of their money and time helping illegal immigrants settle into the United States. That's what it says. Now, there is plenty of footage out there. I know there was some footage of a particular agency in, I believe, San Diego that were at the border. And they basically had like this fold out table. They were a nonprofit and they were, basically entering into the system, like processing these migrants as they came over. And it's crazy because there's multiple NGOs just like this. It's multiple. So it's hard to just track down one who's doing this, right? And so what happens is the federales, right? Our federales are giving these NGO programs vast amounts of dollars, tax-funded dollars, grants, millions upon millions upon millions, to basically assist these migrants, right? So they're kind of finding this loophole of the NGOs. The NGOs now do this work, and that's how they're saying their hands are clean. They're not doing this, right? So this is all interesting. Now, a couple years ago, you guys remember this very viral story by the New York Post where there was, I guess, like secret footage. Okay, this was at the dead of night. I guess whoever was doing the transportation of these migrants didn't think that anybody was going to catch them, thus them doing it in the dead of night. It says this seems clandestine. NY mayor rips into Biden after dozens of migrant kids secretly flown to a small town. This is a big deal. This was only last year. And this is happening every day, by the way. An upstate New York mayor ripped into Biden and his team after dozens of migrant kids were secretly flown to a small town by the feds last week. Oh, interesting. Okay. Interesting. Okay. So the CBP is over here saying, we the federales, we don't give money out to assist these migrants in transportation and travel and all these things. And here goes, some people who are familiar with the matter, close to the ground of what's going on, right? Saying that the feds are the people that are responsible for sending these child migrants over to New York, to these small towns. Now, what happens to these children? Interesting, right? Because there's now 85,000 kids that are missing. They won't be transparent about that. We'll get memos about this, but they won't tell us what happened to 85,000 children. At least 2 migrant flights have touched down at Orange County Airport in Montgomery from El Paso, Texas in recent weeks. This was reported back in October of 2022. And so they talk about different logistics and flights. So take a look at this little map right here. Okay. This was just, I know we're already in the mid part of 2023 already, but this was at the tail end of last year, where you can see here where the migrant flights, I guess they landed, and where these migrants were dispersed out to East Coast states and cities. And this is minors, by the way. These are children. Okay. Now that was just last year. Let's take it 2 years back. So this was a year before this report. Biden secretly flying underage migrants to NY in the dead of night. Okay. Self-explanatory. I basically went through a lot of the same detail with you all, but I just find it so extraordinary that this tweet right here is what they want you to believe, when there are so many other contradictions out there, so many other stories that tell something else, right? I'm telling you, like, this all goes back to greed. It goes back to money. It goes back to politicians lining their pockets. It only, again, just takes me to the word of God, where God, I mean, like the prophecies already talk about this, right? And they might have been talking about a certain government. They might have been talking about certain officials, but it echoes into today. Isaiah 1:7, your country is desolate. Your cities are burned with fire. Your fields are being stripped by foreigners right before you, laid waste as when overthrown by strangers. Okay. It's an insanity to me that this is just a repetition in history, a repetition in biblical word, that this happens over and over and over. And it's because these politicians are greedy. They take bribes, and that is biblical as well. That's biblical as well. It's biblical that these greedy politicians, these greedy leaders, they take bribes, and that's why these things, they fail. That's why they are not built on something fortified, because they are corrupt. It says, you will be ashamed because of the sacred oaks in which you have delighted. You will be disgraced because of the gardens that you have chosen. You will be like an oak in fading leaves, like a garden without water. A mighty man will become tender in his work as a spark. Both will burn together, and no one to quench the fire. It's just, it's appalling is what it is. So anyway, guys, very quick video. I just had to react to that tweet, express my emotions with you all. It is such an insult to our intelligence. And they don't care, of course. They don't care. But they're going to continue doing this. They know that they're lying. They will continue lying. They know that we know that they're lying, and they're going to continue doing it. It's wild. Anyway, be sure you leave your thoughts in the comment section below. I will catch you all in the next video. Bye-bye.